The results of Italy's election are in, but the country's political future appears murky. The incumbent Democratic Party has been sent packing along with its campaign promises of austerity and fiscal discipline. Instead, many voters opted to support new parties, some of which have no experience in public offices.
Non hanno mai governato.
The five-star movement has never governed. If we had voted for the old ones, nothing would have changed for sure. At least now there is a possibility for change.
The outcome is a hung parliament with a number of right-wing parties in position to form a coalition government. Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia, Matteo Salvini's Northern League, and its southern equivalent, the Brothers of Italy, all campaigned on similar economic policies. They all want to introduce a local currency, relegating the euro to international trade. They want to raise the minimum wage and lower taxes, a pledge supported by Luigi Di Maio's five-star movement, which has secured the highest number of seats in parliament. They all question Italy's role in NATO and want to improve relations with Russia. Some fear they will push Italy's economy off the edge.
È successo quello che temevo.
Unfortunately, what I was afraid would happen, happened. Italy is a country destined to be left on the side, and in the worst-case scenario, to bankruptcy. If certain promises made during the campaign are not completely retracted, things won't go well.
But analysts say even before heading to the polls, these parties toned down their anti-EU stance, and some of their leaders are offering an olive branch to the economic bloc, even if it is wrapped in populist rhetoric.
I read in Brussels some people are worried. They are wrong. The European people, with the Italian vote, have taken a step forward towards liberation from clauses and cages, which are bringing to Europe hunger, job uncertainty, and insecurity.
There's no legal limit on how long negotiations can go on until a new government is formed. And with so many parties still in position to form a coalition, it seems Italians will have to wait a while before their votes can lead to real changes. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Craig Erlam is Senior Market Analyst at trading firm Oanda, and he joins us live from London. Great to have you, Craig. Look, Italian stocks and bonds did fall after the election that we had on Sunday, but investors have mostly decided over the rest of Europe that populism really isn't the existential threat that it once was. Is that the right way to be looking at things right now?
I think the sceptic in me would suggest that that's complacency. We've seen a number of elections now over the past 18 months where we have seen populist parties greatly improve their performance in the polls. Yes, we haven't seen the election of any quite yet, but that doesn't mean we can't ignore the rise of them. We've seen the Brexit vote in the UK, which to an extent was a populist vote, this anti-EU rhetoric. You could say the same for Donald Trump's election in the US. It was about making America great again. It was putting America first. So we are seeing the rise of this nationalistic populism, and the result in Italy of these parties, the anti-immigration stance, the Euroscepticism is another example of this. And while it's still unlikely at this stage, this could actually now produce a government in Italy which is Eurosceptic and make the EU's job of forming ever closer ties even more difficult.
Let's focus on Italy's banks. They're mired in debt. They have been improving. NPL, non-performing loans, have been improving in Italy's banks, but they're still accounting for something like 25% of the whole EU total. If there is a lack of political direction in Italy, could we see backsliding on those efforts to clean up Italy's banking sector?
You would hope that the efforts over the past decade or so have helped to provide some distance between the political situation and the banking situation, but it's hard really to completely ignore the two. Ultimately, the banks in Italy rely on a strong economy and rely on investors having faith that the economy is moving forward and improving, and political instability doesn't tend to coincide with strong, consistent and reliable economic growth. But as I say, the Italian banking system's problems, they are improving, but they are coming from a very, very low base. And really the reason why the economy, one of the main reasons why the economy has underperformed other countries for so many years now, has been the fact that the banks are mired in such huge amounts of bad debt.
If that debt does balloon, let's assume it does, is there a possible contagion risk then across the rest of Europe?
Again, the efforts that have been made by the EU over the last number of years now was aimed at stopping contagion, whether that's the ECB stepping in and closing bad banks, or whether it's these banks themselves having less close ties. I think the former in particular is going to be quite significant. We haven't seen any high-profile cases of the ECB intervening yet, but I don't think it would stop, or I don't think it would be hesitant to close these bad banks if they thought there was a contagion risk.
All right, we'll leave it there. Craig Erlam, Senior Market Analyst at Oanda in London. Thank you very much indeed.